I raised my son to be a king, but I never thought his queen would become my executioner. When Hudson walked through that door 13 days early, he found me tied to a chair, blood dripping from my face, while his wife of 1 month stood over me with his leather belt, screaming that I was nothing but a charity case. Before I tell you how love blinded my brilliant son and nearly killed me, hit that subscribe button. This story has twists you won't see coming. Share this because somewhere, a mother is suffering in silence. Now let me take you back to where my nightmare began. My name is Camilla, and I'm 67 years old. I've lived through poverty, through loss, through raising a son alone after his father died when he was just 10. But nothing, absolutely nothing in my life prepared me for what happened in the house my son built, with his own hands and his brilliant mind. Hudson is my everything. From the moment they placed him in my arms 35 years ago, I knew he was special. After his father passed, it was just the two of us against the world. I worked 3 jobs to put him through school. I wore the same coat for 8 winters so he could have new books. I went to bed hungry so he could eat well, and I'd do it all again, 1,000 times over, because that boy grew up to be extraordinary. By the time he was 35, Hudson had built a $1 billion investment empire. My baby, who used to do homework at the kitchen table while I waitressed night shifts, now had offices in 12 countries. He bought me a beautiful house, gave me everything I could ever want, but all I really wanted was to see him happy. That's where I made my mistake. That's where everything went wrong. 6 months ago, Hudson met Lauren. She was 28, blonde, beautiful like a magazine cover, and came from what Hudson called old money. Their romance exploded like a firework dinners every night, weekend trips to Napa, Paris, the Maldives. He was consumed by her, obsessed. I'd never seen my practical, analytical son so swept away by emotion. The first time I met Lauren, I felt it, that cold sensation in your stomach when something isn't right. We met at Hudson's penthouse for lunch. She walked in wearing a white dress that probably cost more than my first car, her blonde hair perfect, her smile bright. But when she looked at me, really looked at me when Hudson turned away to answer a call, her eyes were empty, cold, like looking at a snake. She was polite that day, asked me questions about Hudson's childhood, laughed at the right moments. But there was something performative about it, like an actress running lines. Hudson was enchanted. He held her hand, looked at her like she'd hung the moon. My concerns felt petty, jealous even. What mother thinks she's good enough for her son? Maybe I was just being overprotective. Their engagement came 3 months later. Fast, too fast, but Hudson was adamant. Mom, when you know, she's the one. The wedding was planned for 1 month after that. A whirlwind, everyone said. So romantic, they all whispered. I smiled and nodded and felt that cold sensation growing stronger every day. The wedding day arrived. 300 guests, a venue that looked like a palace, flowers that cost more than most people's annual salary. I wore a cream-colored dress, elegant and simple. The moment Lauren saw me walking toward the bridal suite, her face changed. Just for a second, but I saw it. Her jaw clenched, her eyes narrowed. "Camila," she said, her voice syrupy sweet but her eyes hard as diamonds. "That dress is lovely but cream. Don't you think it might steal attention? Maybe you should change into something more appropriate. Beige, perhaps?" I felt the sting of it but smiled. "I'll be fine, dear. I'm just the mother of the groom. All eyes will be on you." Something flickered in her expression, something dark and satisfied. She leaned close as she passed, her perfume overwhelming, and whispered just loud enough for me to hear. "Enjoy tonight, Camilla. Everything changes tomorrow." My blood turned to ice, but before I could respond, bridesmaids swept her away, and I was left standing there wondering if I'd imagined it. The wedding was beautiful. Hudson cried when he saw her. They exchanged vows, kissed, everyone cheered. I clapped until my hands hurt and ignored the knot in my stomach. At the reception, I watched them dance, watched him look at her like she was his entire world. And I made a decision. Whatever I felt, whatever weird vibe Lauren gave me, I would keep it to myself. Hudson deserved happiness. He'd sacrificed so much, worked so hard. If Lauren made him this happy, I would learn to accept her. I would try harder if only I'd known that decision would nearly kill me. They honeymooned in Paris for a week. When they returned, Lauren's mask started to slip almost immediately. Day 1 back, we were having breakfast. Hudson was reading something on his tablet, distracted. Lauren looked at me across the table and said, casual as discussing the weather, "So, Camilla, when were you planning to move to a senior living facility?" I nearly choked on my coffee. Hudson laughed, thinking it was a joke. "Lauren, this is Mom's home. She lives here." Lauren's smile didn't waver, but her eyes locked onto mine with pure hatred. "Of course, darling. I just thought Camilla might prefer her own space. Independence, you know." "I'm perfectly happy here," I said quietly. Hudson squeezed my hand. "And I'm perfectly happy having you here, Mom. End of discussion." That night, I heard them arguing. Their bedroom was down the hall from mine, and sound carried Lauren's voice, sharp and angry. "I can't believe you're choosing that woman over me!" Hudson's voice, strained. "She's not that woman. She's my mother. This isn't a choice. You knew she lived here when we got married." Silence, then Lauren crying. I heard Hudson apologizing. My heart broke. 1 week married and I was already causing problems. Maybe she was right. Maybe I should look into getting my own place. But the next morning, everything changed again. When Hudson was home, Lauren transformed into the perfect daughter-in-law. She brought me tea, asked about my day, touched my shoulder gently. The first time it happened, I thought maybe we'd had a breakthrough. Maybe she'd decided to accept me. Then Hudson left for his office. The second the door closed behind him, Lauren turned to me. The warmth vanished from her face like someone flipped a switch. "Don't get comfortable, old lady," she hissed. "I'm working on getting you out of here one way or another." This became our routine. Smiles and kindness when Hudson was present, cold cruelty the moment he left. She started doing small things, serving me food she knew I was allergic to, then acting concerned when I couldn't eat it, telling the household staff to ignore my requests, explaining that I was confused due to my diabetes medication, hiding my reading glasses, moving my things, making me feel like I was losing my mind. I stayed silent. Every time I thought about telling Hudson I'd see his face, how happy he was, how much he loved her. What kind of mother destroys her son's marriage after 1 week? What if he didn't believe me? What if it drove a wedge between us? So I endured. I told myself it would get better. I told myself I could handle it. I was so terribly wrong. 2 weeks into the marriage, Lauren came up with her master plan. She suggested to Hudson that he take a major deal in Dubai. "Baby, you've been so stressed," she cooed, running her fingers through his hair. 15 days, close that deal, come back refreshed. You deserve it." Hudson hesitated. He looked at me. "I don't know. What about Mom? Her diabetes has been acting up." Lauren's hand found mine, squeezed it. Her nails dug into my skin under the table, but her face was all concern. "I'll take perfect care of her, Hudson, I promise. Won't I, Camilla?" They both looked at me. Hudson's eyes were hopeful. Lauren's were threatening. I forced a smile. "Of course, dear. You go. Close that deal. Lauren and I will be just fine." The gratitude on Lauren's face was almost convincing. Almost. Hudson kissed my forehead, told me he loved me, promised to call every day. His plane left at 6 in the morning. By 8 a.m., my life became a living hell. Lauren had the house staff move all my belongings to the smallest guest room, the one that used to be the maid's quarters. No attached bathroom, a single window that barely opened, a bed that was more cot than mattress. When I protested, she grabbed my wrist. Her perfectly manicured nails drew blood. "This suits you better, Camilla. A servant's room for the servant. Know your place." "I'm not a servant. I'm Hudson's mother. This is my home, too." She laughed, actually laughed. "Your home? Hudson bought this house after we got engaged. This is my house. You're just a guest who's overstayed her welcome. Now you can either accept this room quietly, or you can call Hudson and ruin the biggest deal of his career, your choice." She was right, and she knew it. That deal meant everything to Hudson. Months of negotiation, millions of dollars on the line. I couldn't destroy that. I moved into that tiny room and told myself it was just for 15 days. I could survive 15 days, but surviving is different than living, and Lauren made sure I wasn't doing either. Day 2, she took my phone. "Oh, Camilla, you're so forgetful. You must have misplaced it somewhere." She told the staff I was having episodes, that I was confused, that they should report everything to her. My meals became smaller, more irregular. She controlled my medication, sometimes skipping doses. Within days, I was weaker, shakier, unable to fight back. By day 5, she made me eat dinner alone in the kitchen, standing up. "Servants eat in the kitchen," she said, "and standing up keeps you from getting too comfortable." Day 7, she accidentally pushed me down 3 stairs. I landed hard, bruised my ribs, couldn't breathe right for days. She told the staff I fell because of dizziness from my medication. No one questioned her. Why would they? She was the lady of the house. I was just the confused old woman. Day 9, I woke up to find my hair butchered. She'd cut it while I slept, choppy and uneven. "Oops," she said when I confronted her, tears streaming down my face. "I thought you wanted a new style. Don't you like it?" Then she took pictures of me, disheveled and crying, and sent them to Hudson with the caption, "Your mom's doing great, trying new things." Hudson called every day via video. Before each call, Lauren would coach me. She'd stand behind his image on the screen, her finger drawn across her throat in a slicing motion if I hesitated too long to answer. "Hi, honey, yes, everything's wonderful. Lauren is so attentive." The lies tasted like poison, but I swallowed them. Hudson noticed I looked tired. Lauren jumped in before I could answer. "She stays up so late watching her shows. I keep telling her to get more rest." He laughed, believed her, told her how grateful he was that she was taking such good care of me. Every word of his gratitude was a knife in my heart. Day 10, Lauren invited her sister and mother over. They sat in the living room drinking wine while I stayed in my small room, but I could hear everything, every word. "God, why did Hudson have to come with baggage?" her mother said. "I know," Lauren replied, "but don't worry, I'm working on it. Give me a few more months and she'll be in a home, signing over medical power of attorney, the whole thing." They laughed. Actually laughed. Like my suffering was entertainment. I sat on that small bed listening to them mock my accent, my clothes, my very existence, and I felt something inside me break. Day 11, I tried to reach a phone. There was one in Hudson's office, and I thought maybe I could sneak in while Lauren was showering. I made it halfway down the hall before she caught me. The slap came so fast I didn't see it coming. My lips split. Blood filled my mouth. "You want to ruin my marriage?" she screamed. "I'll ruin you." She grabbed a wooden spoon from the kitchen and hit me. My arms, my back, anywhere she could reach. I screamed, but she turned the TV to full volume. No one came, no one heard, no one helped. When she was done, she locked me in that small room. I heard the click of the lock from the outside. She only let me out twice a day for bathroom breaks. No breakfast, stale bread for lunch, nothing for dinner. My diabetes spiraled out of control without proper food and medication. I felt faint constantly, saw spots, could barely stand. Day 13 started like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. I was too weak to stand properly when Lauren unlocked my door. She grabbed my arm and dragged me to the dining room. She shoved me into one of the elegant chairs Hudson had picked out, chairs I used to sit in during family dinners, back when I was treated like a human being. She tied my wrists to the chair with rope. Tight, so tight it cut into my skin. I tried to struggle, but I had no strength left. "What are you doing?" I whispered. "Today we end this," she said calmly, like she was planning a grocery list. "You're going to write a note saying you want to move to a nursing home, you're going to sign papers giving me medical power of attorney, and then you're going to disappear from Hudson's life and let him be happy with me." "No," I said. It was the first time I'd refused her directly. "I won't do it." Her face transformed, pure rage. She disappeared into Hudson's study and came back holding something, his leather belt, the one I'd given him for his 30th birthday, soft brown leather with his initials embossed on it. "Since you love him so much," she said, "let his gift teach you respect." The first hit came across my shoulders, I cried out, but the rope kept me from moving. The second hit landed on my arms, the third on my back. She was screaming at me, "You're nothing! A burden! A charity case taking up space in my house! You should have died instead of his father! Hudson would be better off without you!" Each word hurt more than the belt. I tasted blood, felt tears streaming down my face. I started praying, not for rescue, I'd given up on that, but for it to end quickly, for my heart to give out, for the pain to stop. The fifth hit never landed. I heard the front door open. Hudson's voice confused. "Lauren? Mom? Why is it so quiet?" Time stopped. Lauren spun around, the belt still in her hand, my blood on her white blouse. Our eyes met, hers filled with panic, mine filled with something I'd lost days ago. Hope. "What the hell is going on?" Hudson appeared in the doorway. I'll never forget the look on his face. Confusion melting into horror, melting into a rage I'd never seen in my gentle son. He looked at me, tied up, beaten, bleeding, crying. Then at Lauren, standing free with a weapon in her hand. "Baby!" Lauren dropped the belt instantly, tears springing to her eyes like she'd turned on a faucet. "Thank God you're home! Your mother! She went crazy! She attacked me! I had to defend myself! I had to restrain her for her own safety!" Hudson walked closer to me slowly, like he was in a dream. He saw the bruises covering my arms, the split lip, the terror in my eyes, the rope cutting into my wrists. He knelt down and his hands shook as he started untying the knots. "Mom," he whispered. "How long?" I couldn't speak. I just sobbed. When the ropes came off, I saw the deep red marks they'd left. Hudson touched them gently, and I saw tears running down his face. He stood up and turned to Lauren. His voice was so quiet, so controlled, and somehow that was more terrifying than if he'd shouted. 13 days. I was gone 13 days. "Hudson, let me explain," Lauren started. "You tied my mother to a chair. She was having an episode. She's been so confused lately. You beat her with my belt." He picked it up from where she'd dropped it. His belt. His birthday present. His hands were shaking. "You used something I gave you, something my mother gave me, to hurt her." I watched my son notice everything: my chopped hair, how thin I'd become, the bruises at different stages of healing, purple, yellow, green, evidence of days of abuse. Lauren's tears kept flowing, but something in her eyes changed. The mask was cracking. "She doesn't belong here, Hudson. This is my house now. I married you, not your baggage." The words hung in the air like poison. "I've been trying to make her leave since day one, but you're too blind to see it. She's nothing, an old, useless charity case ruining our perfect life. I did this for us, for our future." Hudson pulled out his phone, never taking his eyes off her. 911? Yes, I need police and an ambulance. My mother has been assaulted. "Hudson, no. You're choosing her over me? Your wife?" He looked at her like she was a stranger. Worse, like she was a monster. "You were my wife for 1 month. She's been my mother for 35 years. She sacrificed everything to raise me alone. Everything. And you used my belt to beat her while I was away." Lauren tried to approach him. He stepped back like she carried a disease. Don't come near me. Don't speak. The police are coming and you're going to tell them everything." When the paramedics arrived, they checked my vitals and their faces grew serious. "Blood pressure is dangerously high. Blood sugar critically low. Ma'am, you're severely malnourished and dehydrated. We need to take you to the hospital now." Hudson rode with me in the ambulance, holding my hand, whispering apologies I couldn't fully hear over the sound of my own heartbeat in my ears. At the hospital, they admitted me to the ICU. Severe dehydration, malnutrition, internal bruising. 3 days, they said. I'd have died in 3 more days. Hudson never left my side. He slept in the chair next to my bed, and when I woke in the middle of the night, I'd find him awake, just watching me breathe, tears on his face. On the second day, he told me he'd watched the security footage. All of it. Every camera in the house, 13 days of footage. He came back to my room with red, swollen eyes. "Mom, I saw everything. Everything she did to you. The pushing, the hitting, the starvation, the humiliation. And I saw you protecting me. Every video call, you lied to protect my business deal, my happiness. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you suffer?" I touched his face. My brave boy who'd become such a good man. "You were so happy, Hudson, so in love. How could I destroy that? What if you didn't believe me? What if it made you choose? I couldn't risk losing you. You almost died because you didn't want to burden me." He broke down then, really broke down, sobbing like he did when he was a little boy and his father died. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You didn't know. She fooled everyone. That was her talent." The police investigation moved quickly. The security footage was damning, but they found more. Lauren's diary, hidden in her closet, detailed her entire plan. Pages and pages about eliminating the mother problem. She'd researched nursing homes with the worst reviews, places where complaints disappeared. She'd found a lawyer who specialized in declaring elderly people mentally incompetent. She had forged documents ready, waiting for the right moment to get me to sign away power of attorney. Her family knew everything. Her mother, her sister, they'd encouraged her. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was premeditated, calculated, planned from before she even said, "I do." The trial was brutal. The security footage played in court. I had to watch it again, had to relive those 13 days while strangers watched me being tortured. Jurors cried. The judge's face was stone. Lauren showed no remorse. Even on the stand, she said, "I did what any wife would do. He was supposed to choose me. His mother was in the way of our happiness." The judge sentenced her to 12 years for elder abuse, assault, attempted fraud, and unlawful imprisonment. Her family received lesser sentences for conspiracy. The marriage was annulled based on fraud. She'd married under completely false pretenses. During the investigation, we learned the whole truth. Lauren's old money family? Bankrupt. They'd lost everything in bad investments years ago and had been living on credit and lies. She'd targeted Hudson specifically, studied him for months. The chance meeting at that charity gala? Staged. She'd bought a ticket specifically to bump into him. The whirlwind romance? Calculated. Every moment, every smile, every "I love you" was part of a con to marry a billionaire and get rid of any obstacles to his money. Hudson was devastated. "She never loved me, not even a little. It was all a lie." "No," I told him, "the love you felt was real. Your capacity to love, to trust, to hope, that's real. She's the fake one, not you." Recovery took time. Physical recovery was maybe 6 months. The emotional scars took longer. I still flinch when someone raises their hand near me. I still have nightmares about being tied to that chair. Hudson carries his own guilt, even though I've told him 1,000 times it wasn't his fault he sold that house. Too many bad memories soaked into the walls. We found a smaller place by the beach, peaceful and simple. He cut back on travel, works remotely more often. We rebuilt our relationship, stronger than before, without secrets between us. Eventually, Hudson started dating again. Slowly, carefully, he introduced women to me early, watched how they treated me when he wasn't looking. And then he met Sophie, a kindergarten teacher with kind eyes and a genuine smile. She treats me like her own mother. They've been together a year now, taking it slow, building trust. "This time, Mom," he told me, "we both choose together." I'm 69 now, healthy, stronger than I've been in years. I started a support group for elder abuse survivors, speak at community centers about recognizing warning signs Lauren gets out in 8 years with good behavior. I've forgiven her, not for her sake, but for my peace. But I'll never forget. That leather belt still exists. Hudson wanted to burn it, but I said no. Keep it as a reminder that love can blind us, a reminder that evil wears beautiful masks, A reminder that speaking up saves lives. If I'd told Hudson on day 1, I'd have saved myself 13 days of hell. But shame and love kept me silent. Don't make my mistake. If my story shook you, please subscribe and share this video. Someone needs to hear that their suffering matters. Elder abuse happens behind closed doors of mansions and small homes alike. If you're experiencing this, call the National Elder Abuse Hotline. If you see signs in someone else's life, speak up. You might save them, and remember, blood may be thicker than water, but cruelty has no place in any relationship. Silence protects abusers. Your voice protects lives. Thank you for witnessing my truth. Stay safe, protect the vulnerable, and never let anyone tell you that speaking up makes you weak. Until next time.